Hey Kingdom, today in Pass of Excel 2, the third edict video, I will show you insanely overpowered build I'm using right now. Okay, look here, we got a bridge, we got a screen full of monsters and then one shot and screen deleted. Yeah, guess what, there is no heralds active. It's brutally broken, one tap, screen deleted. Maybe this build is slow? Well, in my opinion we're clearing pretty fast, pretty efficiently and pretty fun. These green guys got no chance, and yeah, we got Flicker Strike on top, so if you want to become Flash and run super fast, well, we got ability. Okay, everyone can defeat basic trash mobs. This build should have some flaws, yeah? Well, not really, take a look, bow, he's out. Well, let's see how it works. Main skill for clearing will be Killing Palm, and yeah, it does not have insane amount of damage on a tooltip, but that's not how good builds work. You don't need damage on a tooltip. Damage on a tooltip is just gear, but we will use insanely smart tactics to actually clear screens with not like insane damage. So Killing Palm is a strike that got cooling. Cooling is this action when enemy is below certain threshold, you will kill him instantly. It's not important for us right now, but it will be important later, so just try to remember that we got this cooling on Killing Palm. Now, if you kill enemy with this skill, you will gain power charges. The higher rarity of enemy, the more charges you will get, and so on and so on. We don't care too much, but we need these power charges anyway. First of all, I ran this build with Falling Thunder, and that's actually great that we can generate power charges with Killing Palm. But that's how it looks normally. You kill enemy, you get power charge, so that's it. The problem? We want more power charges and as fast as possible. There is a solution, and one of them is Charge Profusion. So this support gem, when you drop it in Killing Palm, will give you ability to get more charges every now and then. And sometimes these charges will be random, so it's not always power charge, sometimes as you can see it's frenzy charge, and that's what gives you pretty nice bonus to your character power, more on that in a second. Since there's one more support gem, and it's called Ancestral Call. So Ancestral Call will ancestrally boost our skill, which will give us ability to actually strike 2 additional targets every 2 seconds. This means after we use Killing Palm, well, we hit like 2 or 3 targets in the same time, and probably it never was that fast and that easy to get all power charges in one single hit, just like that. Yeah, pretty crazy. Now, power charges can be used in different ways, for example for Flicker Strike or other skills. For us it's super important to keep them on most of the time, and again we can do it because we will use this charge regulation. Yeah, it kinda ties to our Killing Palm, and whenever we get power charge active, basically when it hovers around us, we will get 27% more critical hit chance. That's pretty crazy, since it gives us ability to have almost 100% critical hit chance, even without critical hit chance weapon, without critical hit chance nodes on passive tree. I actually dropped most of critical hit chance nodes and just got critical hit damage and got 90% critical hit chance. I can have 100 with these nodes over here, still not decided yet. But yeah, we want high critical hit chance for bosses with Flicker Strike anyway. Still, I told you that Killing Palm is only single skill we will use to actually clear screens. Tier 15 Delirious map on Irradiated Zone. Let's see, here's a bunch of enemies. Pow, they gone. So that's basically how we will move. Is there any pack? Bow, screen deleted. Pow, screen deleted. Yeah, I can basically hold this button, so we'll just move around, and it's almost as Flicker Strike, but it's controllable, so yeah. And as you can see, guys delete it even off screen, so we're clearing like multiple screens away. So that's the screen of monsters, pow, they deleted. Another screen of monsters, pow, they deleted, pow, they deleted, pow, they deleted. Oh my goodness, I didn't even touch them. Yes, we clear off screen, we just clear elites. Instantly erased. So that's like most fun part. There's like no animation in this action, so we basically just pushing the button and everyone is deleted. Oh my goodness. Helps you keep your FPS higher, by the way, without this all extra effects from heralds. And we can do it thanks for kinda pretty interesting interaction with one unique. That's how I think it works basically. We get our favorite skill for this run, Killing Palm. It's just amazing. And this Killing Strike states exactly this. We kill normal enemies if their life is below 30% for normal guys, 20% for magic guys, 10% for rare, and so on. Most important part is this. These thresholds are checked before the damage of hit is applied. Therefore, how it should work. We are the monk, So we stand over here and we got our big quarterstaff. Then we got a big bad guy over here and we're doing our damage. So technically we are applying this stuff and game takes calculation, how much damage we do, which type of damage, like elemental or physical, is this critical hit chance, and then it applies this damage to the guy. So if he got like insane amount of health, game just goes into calculation and then apply damage. If he got low health, that is lower than certain threshold, well, then it should apply killing strike and just kill the enemy, no matter how much damage we will inflict. As you can see, we can one-shot enemies and we get our power charges. How killing strike works? It's all coding and stuff, and in game this mechanic almost never coded like this, like if a life less than 30%, a life equals pulse. So something like this. In example, if he got low HP right now, then he's not alive. That's it. In reality, it coded differently. If life less than 30%, then apply 1 billion of damage. So basically we're making sure that monster is not surviving. No matter how much like protection and other stuff he have, 1 billion of damage should be enough to like defeat any monster we see. That's basically how game works. Now you see where I'm going. And you probably saw these new boots I got. And they called Trampletoe greaves. Effect we got over here called Overkill. Overkill damage is any damage from a hit in excess of enemy's remaining life when it's killed. So this guy is killed. And normally, for example, he got 100 health. So if I inflict 105 damage, then basically I should be able to do like 5 overkill damage. And 30% of this overkill damage will be applied to enemies nearby, based on the wording of our Trampletoe greaves. 30% of overkill damage applied to nearby enemy. But since I'm doing 1 billion damage, then this damage is applied to nearby enemies. Yes, this 1 billion damage is actually just 30% of it applied to nearby enemies, and it's just chain reaction to all his friends. Okie dokie, so now you understand how Trampletoe works with Killing Palm, at least how I think it works, but basically it works. What are the skills we got and why do we want to use them? For example, why do we need this Ice Strike? Well, sometimes you just don't want to attack slower with Killing Palm. Yeah, you want to attack faster, and I got rapid attacks on it, since I'm using it for clear basically. I want to attack faster, but if there's a bunch of monsters when they getting out of the abyss, we want a little bit of area of effect, basic attack. So that's where Ice Strike comes into play. You can use Tempest Flurry if you like it more, it doesn't matter. I'm using Ice Strike because I decided it was a good idea to sanctify my almost mirror tier lightning damage quarterstaff, and it got trashed, so I switched back to my cold damage quarterstaff. It's super good. I sanctified it also, so I got like more damage than I need in cold damage. Pretty nice rolls, so overall I'm just using this weapon right now, and it's better to use Ice Strike with it. That's it. But the idea for your main skill is to have ability to attack as fast as possible, so you will have rapid attacks 2, rage 3, elemental ornament for more elemental damage. Then you can use any other elemental damage amplifiers like lightning infusion, cold infusion, stuff like that, or use Raketa's flow. Again, with high critical hit chance it doesn't matter, but you can do it. And of course we want to use practiced combo. We have ability to melt bosses. Now, how we will do it? There should be a boss nearby. So if you got enough power in your quarterstaff, sometimes you can just destroy a boss like that. So you can just attack him and that's it. But we got a combination. Combination looks like this and it's just it. Okay, what just happened? Basically, when we attack with Ice Strike or your basic attack skill, it doesn't matter what skill you're using, you're generating combination. And that's why we need practiced combo, so we can generate combination faster. Now, right now I got 25 combination on my Flicker Strike. And what we can achieve with this? Well, on Flicker Strike, to get combination, you need Culmination Support Gem. It will give you ability to generate combo. For every combo, you will get 3% more damage. For every combo, 3% more. Isn't this crazy? So if you generate 50% combo, well, you're getting 150% more damage. That's completely brutal. And to make Flicker Strike even more brutal, we're using Overextend for more critical damage bonus, Inevitable Critical for insanely high critical hit chance, Elemental Ornament for more elemental attack damage, since most damage comes from elemental sources. If you're using Elemental Stick, and Ambrosia. It will eat Mana Flask charges and will have extra damage as lightning damage. So that's Flicker Strike. And it works if you got Mana Flask with lots of charges. So make sure you got this increased charges and you have like loads of charges. 127 is a good number. Now, that's of course not a full combo. For full combination, I am also using Hand of Chayula. Hand of Chayula used against bosses, especially if you can't generate power charges beforehand. For example, against Arbiter of Ash, for example, against a Ritual boss, and so on. Or in some cases on maps if you was too slow. So we get Sniper's Mark over here, and next critical hit against marked target will have increased critical damage bonus. That's a big stuff. And we always open with Hand of Chayula. So you just attack boss with Hand of Chayula once, you will hit with critical hit chance, you will hit pretty nice critical hit and generate a frenzy charge. With Charge Profusion 2, you will have ability to actually generate extra random charges. But it doesn't matter, because we're always using Culmination on Hand of Chayula at the same time, so it also generates combination at the same time with Flicker Strike. But by adding Ael's Chimes support gem over here, we are able to actually hit with Hand of Chayula, and depending on how much combination we already have, we will generate power charges. So this, in combination with Culmination, gives us ability to generate like 20-30 combo, then use Hand of Chayula, and we will have like 5-6 charges if we're lucky. And I'm using Prolonged Duration, so Mark stays for longer if needed. But actually you can use like whatever you like. You can use Rapid Attacks over here. Actually Prolonged Duration stays over here, since I used Culmination and Ael's Chimes on my Killing Palm before, but that's basically a combination that you may use. And you can use this combination even on basic Quarterstaff Strike. So if you want to change some skills in this build, feel free to just remove Hand of Chayula, remove any other skill, and drop this combination on your basic Quarterstaff Strike. It will work. You just need to generate combo and then attack once. And I used Enfeeble on Hand of Chayula to make bosses weaker, basically, that was an idea. Now, after Hand of Chayula, we're using Infernal Cry. Well, Infernal Cry with Raging Cry, with cooldown recovery, second wind, and prolonged duration will give you buff. This buff will give your attack extra fire damage, and it's like a lot of fire damage. With this combination of support gems, you will be able to use it 2 times in a row. And then, of course, we're just finishing boss with Flicker Strike, which is already empowered and which will have extra damage from critical hit with Sniper's Mark, and we have 100% critical hit chance since we got this power charges. So that's basically how it works against bosses. Funny part, with all these charges spinning around me, actually we got insane amount of protection, since it increasing my defenses, my energy shield. So this build is super tanky, but tankiness also comes with correct item setup. So for this item setup, for this monk, we want to have strictly evasion based armor with insane evasion rating. So you're looking for Sleep Strike Vest. This armor will always have biggest numbers of evasion and you want to have it as high as possible. For gloves and for helmet, you're looking for only energy shield helmet. And this works like this. You need to get yourself into this node Enhanced Reflexes. This will give you deflection rating based on your evasion rating, so that's nice protective layer. At the same time, Bestial Skin over here will increase evasion rating from equipped body armor. Well, you may think, you got only evasion right now, how you get high energy shield? It comes from this node, Spectral Ward. So this in combination with good evasion on your body armor gives you nice chunk of energy shield. Therefore we're getting benefits from insanely high evasion and at the same time from pretty good energy shield. Most monk protective nodes will give you increased evasion and energy shield, so you're getting like loads of extra stuff on top. Also passive tree, got this maximum energy shield node over here. I used this critical hit chance for a while, so you may play with different stuff. Again, there's loads of options, you can change, you can play with it. I'm just explaining you the most important ones. For example, I'm using Walker of the Wilds right now to get myself this Fabled Stack for more duration of power charges, this increased damage against dazed enemies and increased critical hit chance against those, so it's powerful stuff. Saving a little bit of traveling nodes over here, but it's not important. You can even like invest in this node, or you can have this node on Megalomaniac, very powerful one, first approach. It will give you critical hit chance against enemies on a full life and damage with hits against enemies on a full life. Guess what? Yeah, with Killing Palm we will just melt screens. So technically this passive skill tree is kinda optional. You can invest more in elemental damage, you can invest more in critical hit, but again, main idea is to actually have your critical hit chance to 100% on Flicker Strike, so you can melt bosses with 100% chance. I actually on purpose keeping it at 92%, because at 92% I got like 8% chance to fail my critical hit chance, and then I will be forced into like small but more fun boss fight. I like fun boss fights. I do not enjoy melting every boss in 1 second every time. But that's basically our defenses. So Trampletoe with evasion-based armor, with energy shield helmet and energy shield gloves. Actually, gloves can be any gloves, even evasion gloves will work. Is everything you need. Then you're looking for good quality stuff, good rings. You can find how to craft them in my crafting videos. For amulet, yeah, I'm using like pretty broken one, insanely nice sanctified amulet with level 2 melee skills, critical hit chance, damage bonus, and just evasion, and global defenses. So it's just very good amulet. But build will mostly work even without it. Again, make sure you know options. For example, if you don't have damage right now to one-shot enemies, you won't be able to trigger this Trampletoe cool killing palm combination. So you probably will need this node over here on passive skill tree. If you're good, then you're good basically. And I'm not investing even in this critical damage bonus over here. It's very powerful. It gives a lot of power on a tooltip, but I want my critical hit chance, not critical damage bonus. I don't care about critical damage bonus a lot. If it's above like 250%, that's already fine. Having a weapon with critical hit chance also helps, but again, not mandatory to just one-shot screens like this. Oh my goodness. What else do you need to know about this build to run it? Well, it's your buffs. So I'm playing Invoker. This gives me ability to have insane spirit just from my body armors. So as you can see, I have 233 spirit just from body armor evasion rating. That's it. This gives me ability to activate loads of passive skills. Again, we're using no heralds, we're using charge infusion. That gives me constant buffs, which is pretty crazy. We're using Wind Dancer, but not as just supportive stuff. We're using it with elemental ornament, close combat, maim, blind right now, a little bit of support basically, but you just want to have like loads and loads of damage on Wind Dancer. Idea is to actually kill any enemy who's able to hit you, so probably I will just insert magnified area on top of it, and then have time to recharge it, because it gives you more evasion per stage, and if someone hits you, you're actually losing energy shield, but you're regaining energy shield thanks for Ghost Dance. Ghost Dance will regenerate your energy shield from your total evasion. That's why, again, it's super important to run insanely high evasion on Monk to have this survival. This Monk is technically unkillable, and I see lots of monks actually struggling with mixed armors, and again, they struggling with mixed armors because they don't using this passive skill tree, a combination rotation. So if you're struggling, just give it a try. This is a nice defensive combination. But also I'm using Blasphemy. So I'm using Blasphemy with Temporal Chains to slow down monsters, with Heightened Curse for more magnitude, with Ritualistic Curse for more area of effect, Magnified Area for the same reason, and Slow Potency to slow down them even more. You can use Elemental Ornament, but I mean Elemental Curse basically, but there's no need because we got Sunder My Enemies, which gives your critical hit chance ability to ignore enemy monster elemental resistances, so technically you don't need it. I ran a little bit of Elemental Expression, in my opinion just super low damage, it's completely useless. Then we got I'm the Blizzard, for extra damage as cold damage, it's a good one, because on freezing you create chilling ground, so you're slowing enemies around even more. I used Unbound Avatar, so we can activate it on bosses, very powerful stuff, but again, a little bit of overkill. I decided that, you know, constant damage is better, so we're using this I'm the Thunder passive node to gain extra damage is lightning damage, which also gives us like nice damage boost, but at the same time we're increasing our shock magnitude on this node, so it's nice. We're basically dealing constantly more and more damage. Now for Jewels, I'm using Megalomaniac with Overflowing Power, which gives me 2 maximum power charges, and Insightfulness, which gives me maximum energy shield, regeneration of mana, and intelligence. You don't need to copy this exact Megalomaniac, but idea of Megalomaniac is to actually give you some power. So for this build, you understand our power, we need energy shield. So for example, enhanced barrier will work. You want critical hit chance, so barbaric strength, vulgar methods will work, like loads of other critical hit chance nodes, just look for critical hit chance. Also attack speed, killer instinct will work, you know, there's loads of nodes you may use on your Megalomaniac, but one of the smartest way to use it is to actually save you traveling nodes. So for example, to take this maximum power charges, I would need to use these nodes over here. Yes, they will give me critical damage bonus if I consumed power charge recently. It gives nice power for Flicker Strike, but only for Flicker Strike mostly, because I'm not using power charges most of the time when I'm mapping, and honestly you don't need this extra like damage in the high end when you got nice gear. So I just saved myself 3 nodes and invested them in different places. That's it. Same goes over here. So I got this diamond from nothing that gives me ability to allocate stuff against around Walker of the Wilds, so I don't need these traveling nodes over here. They're kinda useless, but this is like really powerful ones. Still, you can change it for like from nothing that gives you ability to allocate near zealot oaths and just allocate this attack damage. It will give you like 10% of damage for each node. It's just completely brutal. Funniest part, when your interaction works nice, you actually one-shooting like mini bosses, Omniphobia and guys like that, and it's like super funny. Yeah, just like that, we're one-shooting screen, getting our divine orb, waiting for a lady to come closer, activating our combination. She is pretty slow, now she's frozen, and pow, we're doing our Flicker Strike, she's out. So that's basically how it works. You can use Flicker Strike while mapping, by the way, so that's like cool, funny stuff of the build. With Killing Palm you can easily generate power charges, a lot power charges, so just one hit, lots of power charges, Flicker Strike, one hit, Flicker Strike. That's basically how you can map, and it's super fast, super funny, even though our boots got just 15% increased movement speed. You don't need this 35. Yeah, in some cases you will be slow if you backtrack a lot, but in today's patch you don't need to backtrack a lot, you just need to go close to the boss and defeat boss as fast as possible. So that's how it works. You can check build link in the description, but this video described everything you need, so I hope you enjoyed it, and make sure to watch other cool videos on the screen right now, and see you in the next ones, guys.